Students often initially respond in droves, but what happens after that can be tricky. Today we're going to be talking about how to transition from the follow-up into a regular Bible study. Hi, this is Kevin.
And this is Mark.
And this is Go to the Campus with Crew,
where we talk about how to reach teenagers on a public high school campus.
Mark, this is a great subject today we're talking about because how many of us have started studies and with great flair and flavor, and all of a sudden, after a few weeks, where are the students?
Yeah, I agree. After you start a follow-up study to kind of give them a easy cushion to start with as a believer or to get connected with your ministry, but that transition to a regular Bible study where they really grow in their faith can be tricky, and we lose a lot of them along the way. Any transition in your group can be challenging. When you move to a different location or start a new time, there are always kids you start to lose here and there, but this transition into a regular Bible study from your starter 4-week follow-up can be really tricky.
Yeah, I know, and I think you and I have been around long enough where we've experienced this. I can remember one time where we did an outreach with the football team, and wow, the response was amazing. I was boasting about it, basically, the first problem, right? But these guys were hanging in there. We were doing crazy basketball before the study and pizza and all this stuff, and what happened was I said, hey, let's continue, and I had no sense of forecasting what's going on, and suddenly I looked around me and very few of these guys were in the room. And
Yep.
So it was interesting though, because I learned that even Jesus talked about this concept. He talked about the soils in John chapter 4, in the fact that only a quarter of the seeds fell on good soil. And so I think it's okay to have the perspective that not every student is going to go with you. But I think today we want to talk about what can we do, what's our part in helping students continue to track with us.
Yeah, I agree, Kevin, that it can be disheartening when students walk away. And we can't always solve that problem, but we can do better. And so today we're going to talk about how to transition from a follow-up into a regular Bible study. So the first point of this is relationship. Relationship is the glue that holds the group together. And to the degree that you do well with relationships in that first 4 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever your follow-up is, you'll have a lot more success transitioning into a regular Bible study. You can think about the 4 weeks as an audition for you, for that student. And they're thinking, okay, is this someone I can trust? Is this group a place that I can trust? That they listen to me, they care about me, and they have things that I want to know and ways I want to grow. And if it is, then they'll be much more likely to say yes to this transition into something on a more regular basis. So you got these 4 weeks, and think of it as an audition, and think, how am I really connecting with this student? How am I really letting them share and letting them in and giving them good content and helping them connect relationally?
I love the idea about audition, because that's really what's happening. These students are kind of collecting information about you and the others in the group. So that's good. Hey, at this point, though, I think it's important to talk about when you're moving on from follow-up to a regular study where you're going to be going deeper, there might be a little longer commitment to it. Invite them clearly and forecast what it'll be like. I think you owe it to the students to have this sense of demarcation from this sense of this 4 weeks was unique. They only signed up for 4 weeks, so it's really important to say,
Right.
hey, will you be willing to move on with this? And here's what this could look like. So just make it really clear and a line in the sand type of way.
Yeah, oftentimes that initial 4-week thing, and you are initially just saying, hey, would you meet with me for 4 weeks to learn about your new faith? And which is really good. Sometimes though it's done one-on-one or in a small group. And after that, you want to transition them to a larger group. And so there's this different thing that's going on. Or sometimes you might even stay in the same group, just transition naturally, but you got to keep in mind, you've only challenged them to 4 weeks at this point. And you can't change the rules on them without asking them. So that's what needs to happen. That's what you're saying, Kevin, is that you invite them clearly and give them an idea of what's next.
Yep.
The next thing is to make an attractive first next step. So you're saying, hey, we're going to start doing this regular Bible study on Tuesdays. Maybe it's the same time, maybe it's another time, maybe it's a different place or whatever. But the next step, the first one of those, make it something fun, make it unique. So it might be something like, hey, we're gonna do it at the bowling alley, or we're gonna have pizza, or we're gonna go play ultimate frisbee in the park to get to know each other, and then we'll start meeting regularly to study the Bible. Maybe it's meeting at a coffee shop or a place that they would think is great. Maybe it's just studying a specific topic that they've been thinking about, that they want to know about. Hey, well, we're going to study this for the next 4 weeks. Would you be up for that? And sometimes it's that. Sometimes it's a challenge just to 4 weeks and not another 4 weeks and not like forever, because students aren't usually comfortable with a forever commitment. But make the next step an attractive one.
Yeah, that's good. I think when I think of a successful study, I think of content and experience. I think you're talking about the fact that it's to bring them together, to have them anticipate something well, plan something special like laser tag or just an outing or some sort where they're out of that study environment and they're building relationships with you and each other and forming an identity of that group, which is fantastic.
Yeah, well. And it gives the additive benefit if you're throwing them in with another group of students, if you're trying to mesh a couple of different groups together, an event like that really does help them build the bonds and give them an experience to trust each other and make it a great group.
Yeah, that's great. Hey, the last one is remove obstacles for involvement. Now, there's a real practical side of things. I mean, we can be praying for hours for our students. We can be doing all the right things in the study. But if we're not aware of their schedules and even the place you're meeting, if they're comfortable or not, it's really good to take stock at this point and say, hey, and even ask the group, is this the best time to meet? Is this the best place to meet? And so that you're removing the obstacles where students could say, yeah, I'd still like to do this, but my schedule's changed now. This is the next semester. I can't do it this time. And try to get a feel for the group when the best time would be. And then again, where is the best place to meet.
That's really good, Kevin. I think when I think of obstacles with high school students, I think of things like sports practices that start up at certain times of the year or seasons that end, and things that their schedules are constantly changing. They have things that they could do here and there, and I think it's really good to be in tune with that, in tune with the obstacles that are in their lives. Don't just think about the obstacles in your life as a volunteer or a staff member, but think about, hey, get yourself on their schedule and the uniquenesses in their lives, and think about the obstacles that they're facing. Well, this has been good, Kevin. There's 4 points that we talked about to help you transition well from a follow-up into a regular Bible study. And they are relationship. Don't forget about the value of that. Invite them clearly and forecast what's next. Make an attractive next step. And remove obstacles for involvement. So those 4 things won't help you catch every one of them, but it will help you be a little more successful in making that transition.
Mark, fantastic. Hey, so here's a question for you out there. What is most challenging to you in the transition from a follow-up to a Bible study?
That's good. Well, hey, we have a tool for you we'd like to recommend, and we've talked about this before, but we want to encourage you to consider using Thrive Studies as your follow-up. And here's a way that it works for this particular problem is it's the same platform that you use for your next study. And so they'd be familiar with it, and it would help in making that transition. They could even flip through the phone in the app and find studies that they'd be interested in. And you said, hey, if you wanted to learn more about something, pick one, and let's do that next week. And that could be something that grabs them for the next study and kind of locks them into that weekly study. So check out Thrive Studies at thrivestudies.com, and it's a great tool. I think you'll like it.
Yeah, so if you like what we're talking about today, and I hope you do, we certainly do, we invite you to join us in our community by subscribing, liking, sharing this video with others. And remember, when in doubt,
go to the campus.